Good evening, McDonald families. This is Mr. Ortiz. Thank you for listening to this video on the student profile that you received today. Now, the student profile that you got in the Wednesday Express went home to only 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade parents. And I sent that home. That is information that we received from the MAP assessment that all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students take in the Centennial School District. Now, this information helps us make day-to-day and week-to-week instructional decisions, and I wanted to share this with you so that you can see where your child is in regards to a normed test and how you can help us at home. So, wanted to share some of the information with you, go over it with you, and I have a sample here. Now, no name because this doesn't belong to anybody. This information looks exactly like what you got today. And what I wanted to talk about is a few things. Now, this big number here, that's the RIT score. That's the overall score that there is for math and then there is for reading. So you have a RIT score for math and a RIT score for reading, okay? Now, when looking at math, you have this center section right here. And there are 4 areas of instructional focus. Or 4 instructional areas, I apologize. In math, there's algebraic concepts, there's measurement and data, there's geometry, and then there's numbers and operation. Now, the sample score here has this student with a 224, and then you have a slew of other scores here. Now, this particular student, numbers and operations, this sample student here is showing a strength here. However, here are some other scores, 218, 219. If I was looking at areas to build, we would say, hey, this student, John Doe, would need maybe some to build up the level in algebraic concepts and also measurement and data, while keeping the skills sharpened in these other 2 areas that are higher than the RIT range, than the RIT score. Okay, so this information gives you some good idea of what we can kind of focus on. Here, all the way on the left, gives you what they're doing in regards to growth and overall achievement. Now, this student with the scores here has they're placing in the 58th percentile in regards to overall achievement, but the growth from the beginning of the school year hasn't been as ideal as you would like. Now, they also give you a projection in regards to what they're going to be scoring on the PSSAs. Now, this student here projected to be basic, okay? So if we can build some of these 2 areas up, I bet you that this student would be proficient, all right? Also, I want to just mention this quadrant chart here where you say, what does that mean, quadrant chart? When we look at where the students are falling, think about a quadrant where you have 4 sections. The upper right quadrant are for students who are showing high growth and high achievement. The upper left quadrant are for students who are showing high growth, but perhaps the achievement is still on the lower side. Students on the bottom right are showing high achievement, but not necessarily high growth. They're showing lower growth. And then students at the lower left quadrant are showing low growth and low achievement. And we look at that as a whole in regards to where the students are falling so that perhaps we can identify, okay, what students are benefiting from the core curriculum and perhaps what other students might benefit from some goal setting in regards to let's build up some of these other areas that might not be an area necessarily of strength, maybe an area of focus. And then what can we do to alter some of the approaches that we're doing in regards to teaching the core curriculum, okay? Now, in regards, there's some more information I'd like to talk about. Here in the middle of the student profile, you will see something that says percentage of disengaged responses. Now, when the boys and girls take the MAP test, it is on the computer. And they actually time the students in regards to how long it takes them to read a question and then answer the question. And if they're simply clicking away, the program is going to understand that they're not really taking the time to read the questions and then answer the responses and it will give you a percentage here. Now, in this sample, there is no percentage. So this pseudo student, this fake student, took their time. And then if there is a percentage there, this next line will get where it says estimated impact of disengagement on the RIT score. This will give you how many points was lost based off of their disengagement. So whatever numbers on the second line, if you would add that to the overall RIT range, you would see how much more they would have improved, okay? Now in regards to the information, oh, one more thing. It also tells you how long the student was on the test, how long it took them to finish the test, and then the date. Okay, so those are all the informational things on the front side here that will have the information and then the name at the top. What I want to show you then is the next part is the growth chart that you'll see. Here you can see the progress being made, or perhaps the lack of progress being made over the course of time. Some students will have years worth of information. This sample here, they only gave it back to 3 data points. But for the boys and girls who have been with us since 4th grade, they have, in 5th grade, going back to 4th grade's data, 4th grade, this is their first year doing it, and our current 3rd graders, this is their first year doing it. So in this sample here, you can see that throughout the 3 data points that are on here, this student started at a 2, it looks like a 220, stayed at a 220, and then dipped down to a 218 in this sample that I have here. So gives you a good snapshot of the progression. Ideally, we like to see it going up. In this one, we had to make some adjustments and say, hey, what can we do to help support if this were the scores that we had for a particular student. So that is the information that you received in regards to the student profile. You received it for math and for reading. Now in regards to reading, the same type of information, however, just 2 slight differences. Here for the instructional areas of focus in the middle, there's only 3 areas. You have vocab acquisition, reading informational text, which is nonfiction reading, and reading literature, which is reading fictional text, okay? And then at the bottom here, you look at where it says Lexile range. The Lexile range, now, some districts use that, some districts don't. We particularly don't rely on the Lexile range anymore. However, that gives you a range in regards to what reading books, what books your child can read independently. So, according to the Lexile range, I apologize, it gives you an idea of what their reading ability is, okay? So those are the only 2 differences in regards to reading and the math student profiles, but you have the same information. You have a RIT range, you have the instructional areas with their independent scores, you have the norms percentile in regards to growth below the mean, growth and achievement, whether it's below or at or above the mean. You have the quadrant chart information, and you have the projections. There's also on ACT, college readiness, and SAT. That's not really for our current boys and girls because they're not taking SATs, and the ACT college readiness doesn't really apply to them at this time. But the projections for PSSA, the Pennsylvania System of School Assessment that we're taking next month, that projection is for them. So look at that, and that gives us and you an idea of what they're projected to do on the PSSA. Does that mean that's exactly what they'll do? No. We're hoping to exceed all projections. But I'm sending this home so that you can have a better snapshot in regards to where your children are based off of a norm test. If you have any questions, please, I encourage you to reach out to me, email me, call me. If you have any questions and you feel more comfortable reaching out to the teacher, by all means do that as well. But I will say this. When you're dealing with a norm test, perhaps what we see in the classroom doesn't always translate into a standardized test. There's a lot of variables involved. One big variable being anxiety, test nervousness. So I ask, take this information, use it to help build up on some skills that you can do at home. For example, for math, we have Khan Academy mappers that the teachers use to help build some of the skills that perhaps are being identified as areas of focus for the boys and girls. And then for reading, the best thing that we can ask you to do is look at, okay, what can we build up on? Is it reading informational text, which will be nonfiction? Is it reading the fictional text? And of course, always building the children's vocabulary and their lexicon. What words are they accustomed to seeing? And I've learned a long time ago the rule of 7. When you see a word, use a word, read a word 7 times, it tends to stick. So a little tip there that I learned a while ago. Not sure how accurate that is, but I'm putting it out there. The more frequently boys and girls are exposed to words that are, new and challenging, the more likely they are to remember them, and it will help support them as their vocabulary grows as they get older. So again, our way, I should say, of sending home more information to you so that we can be a better team to help to support the growth of all the boys and girls here at McDonald Elementary School. I appreciate your time, everyone. Look forward to more. Please look forward to seeing more of these videos because I plan on being more engaged with you in regards to how we can help serve the boys and girls better and work as a team to help everyone grow here at McDonald. Have a great night, everyone. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. We'll see you soon.